I'll talk about the fracture in materials. So in this case, you can see that in the left side we have a seep, and you can see that we have a crack in the middle. So this is due to the fracture, and you can see that how fracture can affect the entire seep. So this is we have to study uh, fracture as it is very important. So before going to fracture, we have this uh, to go through this stress and strain. So when a body is subjected to an external force, there will be a resistive force. So here you see that we are pulling it with a force P, and here in the area A we have a resistive force, and the stress is denoted by sigma, that is the load upon area. So sigma is equal to P by A. Similarly, for strain we have uh, the change in dimension to the original dimension. So here we have the longitudinal strain, because we have longitudinal strain, lateral strain. So here along the length that has been changing much. So here the strain is denoted by epsilon, and this is Li minus L naught by L naught. So that is delta L by L naught, that is the change in length by the original length. This is a strain, and because of this loading, in the tension test what will happen, we will have fracture. So here we have shown three types of fracture. So first one is highly ductile fracture, in which the specimen next down to a point, so you can see the sharp tip like the pencil. So then we have moderately ductile fracture. After some necking, you can see in the figure B, that is some zigzag lines we have. And finally the brittle fracture, that is without any plastic deformation, and you see that the fracture is occurring perpendicular to the axis, and it is quite flat by nature. So then we will go through the fractures in ductile and brittle materials. So in ductile fracture we have, it's basically cup and cone type of fracture, and the right hand side the brittle fracture of uh, the brittle material. So in the left hand side you can see that this is microstructure of ductile fracture, and here we have dimples, and within the dimples we have some particles. So these particles acts as the nucleation sites, so where actually the void nucleate, and it will propagate and the fracture will occur. And for the brittle material we have cleavage type of fracture, which is in the right hand side. So you can see that we will study more about the mechanism of fracture in the next slides. So this is all about the ductile fracture. So here in ductile fracture we have cup and cone type of fracture. So when we pull it longitudinally, you can see that the first stage, these are the stages of the ductile fracture. So in the stage 1 we have initial nicking, then we have small cavity formation, as you can see in the figure B. So there are very small tiny cavities, and then in the figures you can see they have uh, merged or coalesced to have a bigger void, okay, or bigger cavity, and then the cavity will propagate. So the stage 4 is the, or stage D, what has been shown in figure. So this is the crack propagation stage, and finally the shear fracture will occur at a angle 45 degree. Okay, so this is the last stage of the fracture. This is for ductile matter. Similarly, so how the void formation is taking place? So we have particles, we have pulling it. So you can see that the pulling direction has been shown in the figure. So it will elongate along that direction, and when you pull it, it will further elongate. Then uh, finally they will merge, and you can see that some zigzag kind of fracture. Okay. Similarly, during shear, we have told or we have studied that it will occur at an angle of 45 degree. So here you can see they have elongated at an angle of 45 degree. Huh. And when we pull it more, so then it is elongating along the 45 degree direction more. Finally it will merge, and you will see that the fracture will be of this kind. So it's along the 45 degree direction. So this is basically the fracture during shear. Then how we will characterize the ductile fracture and brittle fracture? So in the figure A, we can see that in ductile fracture it is basically of intragranular type. So you can see the crack is propagating across the grains. So this is the red color line is the path of crack propagation, and in the right side we can see in the microstructure that how the propagation is occurring. Similarly, for brittle fracture, what will happen? It is intergranular fracture, means the crack will propagate along the grain boundaries. Okay, not across. So here we will have cleavage type of planes. You can see in the right hand side how the crack is propagating along the grain boundary. So this is the difference between ductile and brittle fracture. Okay, so this is all about the basics of how the fracture is occurring in the materials. Thank you.